there's sexual connotations immediately there. But I think there should be a lot more caressing and warmth between people.
You know, he was seen as the quintessential Aussie, the knockabout, larrikin bloke you could trust. When all the time he was leading this sort of sinister double life.
This Australian entertainer is bigger than he's ever been.
He was everywhere. He was on the telly, he was on the radio. You couldn't get away from Rolf Harris.
You devils. Don't you look nice with the lipstick on your teeth?
I was a child. Now that we know the truth, you can't get away with it anymore.
Harris was found guilty of a string of indecent assaults.
And as you can tell, today we're looking into the crimes of children's entertainer Rolf Harris. And for those of you who are too young to understand what Rolf Harris was for 60 years on TV, I mean, that's a career that very few people on TV will ever get anywhere near. In fact, 30 years is a lot. 60 years we're talking about. Back then, we only had like 4 TV channels, right? This is predating Sky even. So if you were on TV, you were very, very famous because there was no internet. There was no alternative. And because this guy appealed to the entire family, he was very family friendly, very safe. People of all ages watched him. I remember going to my grandparents' house and he would just be on. Bit of music, he'd play instruments. He literally had a #1 single in the UK. And he was very famous for his art. He was a very good artist. And he would sort of draw a picture and the kids would wonder what it was going to be, and he would go, "Can you tell what it is yet?" And it was almost like a Santa Claus type figure, that it was very endearing towards children, and he spoke with a very warm tone, and he just felt extremely trustworthy, possibly the most trustworthy individual on TV. And I guess it just goes to show, like, when you're watching TV or YouTube these days, you can never really know who that person is, because not only were people wrong about him, the real him was the complete and utter opposite of the person that he was acting as on TV. And in a documentary that's just been released, there's things in there that will just blow your fucking mind. I don't even know how else to describe it, really. And before we do a deep dive into all of this, I do have a quick word from our very great sponsors that allow me to bring you these kinds of videos. If you do need to go on holiday this year, check out the sponsor for today. Saily is the eSIM that keeps you connected, keeps you online, wherever the hell you want to go this summer for just the price of a coffee. This, my friends, is what we like to call a no-brainer. Saily have over 200 destinations covered, so wherever you are in the world, pretty much. And what that means is when you connect to Saily, there's not the, "Oh, I've disconnected from the hotel Wi-Fi, now I've got to find the restaurant Wi-Fi when we arrive there." No, you're connected all the time when you're there, and the connection is better than the hotel Wi-Fi when I've used it. It works on iOS and Android. You buy your plan using my link, you choose your time frame and the amount of data you're going to need, install the eSIM on your phone, which is really easy, by the way, land at your destination, and your plan will be activated immediately. So if you want to guarantee that you stay connected on your trip away and you don't have to worry about any of that nonsense, get Saily. And you'll get an exclusive 15% discount off your first purchase when you use my link in the description below. Just click the link, go to saily.com/Geordie and get your 15% discount.
When I was a teenager, there were words amongst the girls not to be alone with him in the green room, that he was a bit handsy.
Even that, just the 2 kisses, immediately I'm like, all right, mate. One's enough.
If you just said, hi Rolf, how are you? You might go for a kind of air kiss. Oh no, you had to come into the full body press, you know, right up against you, and a nibble on the neck, you know, and always try and kiss you on the mouth.
I didn't see this version of Rolf Harris. I seen the old man who was painting for kids. Like, obviously, this is when he was in his heyday. Just kissing all up her arm and caressing her back and everything. Like, this is on live TV, motherfucker. There's no hiding it. Do you know what I mean? He's just doing it in broad daylight. This is that classic in plain sight type shit that they say.
I watch your programme. I know it's supposed to be for kids. Now,
Can I just say how lovely you look? Just...
You smooth.
But isn't it super?
What a smooth talker.
No, but the outfit is absolutely gorgeous. You look so lovely.
Wait there. Whoa. The touch of the arm, that's a bit overly friendly. The fact that he couldn't control himself from touching her face. He doesn't know this woman, by the way. Clearly. She might have a boyfriend. She might be a fucking married woman. He's just... Oof. They clearly knew he was, at the very least, a bit of a sex pest. Like, this was probably an open secret.
you seem to have this amazing rapport with children. And on a more serious note, you're off to Australia soon, aren't you, for a World Conference on child abuse. And before we talk a little bit more about that, let's take a look at the video you made last year. It's called Kids Can Say No, intended to alert children to the dangers of abuse.
Sorry, what? Like, he made a video on child abuse awareness. What's next? Ted Bundy does a self-defense class for women.
Natasha, who owns your body?
It's my body.
Absolutely. But sometimes people do things to one another which don't make them feel good. Now, you know the sort of touch that makes you feel good. Say you had your baby brother and you're carrying him, and he's sitting on your hip and you've got your arm supporting him like that, and he's got hold of your neck and he's hanging on tight, and perhaps he's tucked his head in there, and it feels, you want it to go on for a long time. It feels good, that it's a yes feeling. It feels really good. And other touches give you a no feeling. It's like, no, I don't know why I don't like that, but I'm not too sure about that at all. I don't want that to keep going. I want that to stop.
You know what I'm thinking that this is really revealing as well? What an amazing communicator he was to children, which probably is what made him so prolific at the evil that he was capable of. He didn't come packaged as someone who was scary. He's a soft, gentle, older, almost like a friend of the family, an uncle type character. And he's very good at breaking things down for children to understand.
Sometimes a person can give you the no feeling without ever touching you at all. I'll show you what I mean. Let's play a pretend game. Sophie, pretend that it's your birthday and you've taken all your birthday money and you've gone down to the corner shop to buy a present that you've wanted for a long time. And when you get there, you find you haven't quite got enough money, so you can't buy it. Now, let's pretend a man comes up and offers to give you the rest of the money if you will let him take you home. What would you do?
Well, he is being very nice to give me the money, so maybe I would say yes. I don't want to be rude to him or hurt his feelings.
Just to quickly define irony here. That guy there is an actor pretending to be a pedo. Rolf Harris talking about this is a pedo pretending to be an actor. This is so dark. I can't believe I didn't know this existed.
And you don't have to worry about hurting his feelings, even if he is being kind, because you don't even know the man, all right? Just because he's a grown-up does not mean that you have to do what he says. You could say, "Go away, please." Say it. Try saying "go away" very firmly.
Go away!
This really shows how deeply he understood the power dynamic between adult and child, and that children struggle to say no to an adult, and that they sometimes don't understand what level of power they have in a situation. And he understood it so deeply to a point where he made a help video for kids, for Christ's sakes. This could have been used in court against him. I mean, I don't know if it was, but it's fucking sickening, really, when you think of what he was doing while he was making this. He was literally making videos like this and then going and actually abusing children.
Let's pretend, Natasha, that you've gone to visit your friend Jean, and when you get there, she's just gone out shopping, but her dad invites you in to wait for Jean to come back.
Right, there you are. Like that.
He did that on purpose.
Really clumsy of me. I don't know what, we'll just take this off.
Fucking hell. He wrote this, Like, this is all scripted by him. And now I'm like, was this a sexual fantasy of it? Like, the way he's describing this? Because the story he's describing is the father of a child attacking his child's best friend. And guess who did that? Rolf motherfucking Harris did that. And he's literally writing about it in this thing and making it out like, oh, this is a help video. It's so sick, man. This is fucking insane, this, like.
Rolf's first victim was a close childhood friend of his daughter, Bindi Harris. They are known as Victim A. She was 13 years old, and the Harris family were going travelling through the Christmas period. Her family had agreed that she could go with the Harris family.
And you would, though, back in the day, like, in that era, especially when it was Rolf Harris was your fucking neighbour, they would have trusted him implicitly.
They were preparing to go to the beach, and shortly after that time, Rolf Harris had knocked on the door, and that's when the first kind of sexual abuse had taken place against her.
And imagine how that must have been for that little 13-year-old girl. Like, she's gone on holiday with her friend. She's trusting this man who everyone loves, and he's a known children's entertainer. Why wouldn't you trust him? And before you know it, you're alone with him in a bedroom and he's fucking attacking you. And again, I need to stress, how loved this man was by the public. He was adored as a friend of the family to everyone who knew him.
Rolf Harris would continually visit the family home in order to speak to her parents, but that wasn't the real reason he was there. He would often say to the family, "Is victim A here? Is she upstairs?" "Oh yes, she's upstairs." And he used to go up and see her and sexually abuse her whilst her family were downstairs.
That is disgusting, right? And the fact that he had the level of confidence to be doing that to a daughter, knowing her parents are just downstairs, that's like the psychopathic element of this. It's not just enough for him to be hurting this person. It's the fact that he's doing it knowing that he could get caught, and that the scenario that he's putting himself in is I guess, thrill-seeking for him as well. All the while, the whole fucking world thinks he's the saint.
Rolf Harris would be invited on to children's entertainment shows, like Jim Will Fix It with Jimmy Savile, and he would be able to interact with children.
Now, you see this young lady, sir? She wishes that she could help you with one of your paintings.
Good idea.
Do you think I may leave her in your charge?
Safely leave her in my capable hands here.
Right.
My capable hands. Ugh, he's fucking disgusting, isn't he? And like the way he's rolling his sleeves up, and then you've got Jimmy Savile with his hands on this girl. Like they always do this, these fuckers, all of them. And it reminds me of Joe Biden. It's a weird fucking shout, right? But Joe Biden was just like this when it was around kids. It's a right giveaway, in my opinion. And I wonder if these two creeps knew about each other's dark secret, you know? I mean, probably.
My wife was working at the BBC, and her first day, somebody senior came up to her and said, "Rolf Harris is working here on his painting series at the moment. He's in the building. Do not get into a lift with him on your own. Do not walk upstairs in front of him."
And what a shock. He's working at the BBC, and it's such an open secret that people are now warning other young women about even getting in an elevator with this guy. It always comes by the fucking BBC, doesn't it? And this is the company that our government are insisting that YouTube promote their platform to the very top of the algorithm and submerge channels like mine and all your other favourite creators, because they are the trusted source of news. The home of the most famous pedos in history is the most trusted. That's how crazy our country is. It's fucking insane, like, because this should have been destroyed years ago from what they've been promoting. That was the culture back then. Fuck the BBC. How about that?
We were in the dining area one night, and Rolf Harris came, tumbling in. Rolf Harris started to touch me quite in an imposing way. He was rubbing himself up against me, putting his hands over my shoulders and touching my chest. I just didn't know how to make him stop.
Just like the Jimmy Savile moment we've seen before, the way these guys do it is they do it with a smile on their face. They're very charming and laughing and, everything's fine, to stop people from realising what the fuck they're doing in plain sight.
He was reciting a poem while he was groping me, like rhythmically, like, groping my breast in time to his little nursery rhyme.
That singing, nursery rhyme, all of that, it's a way to disarm the person and make them feel like this isn't an attack. And again, it comes back to the psychology that he was using earlier with those children. He fully understands child psychology. He totally gets how to disarm them, how to make this feel as normal as possible. That, along with his fame and his image that he'd created for himself, probably very deliberately, is probably what made him so difficult to stop, because this went on for fucking decades and decades and decades. He was underestimated because of the way he presented himself, massively.
1984, went straight to the police and tried to report Rolf Harris. They were just not interested.
If they'd just taken this seriously, they could have stopped him 29 years before he was finally caught. And the damage he did in that 29 years was significant.
It was all of us there, and Rolf was there, and we're just having this sing-along, everyone's just singing. Then he said to me, "Come and sit on my lap." He was telling me how talented he thought I was and I should keep going, and really making me feel enthusiastic. And he started to put his hand on my legs, and up at my legs he was sort of going towards my under my skirt. And this is all happening while we're all singing.
And again, that theme of laughing and singing and everything's fine, while he's doing the most horrific thing to a child. And this was in a room full of people where this girl was singing. The lack of fear from him is unbelievable. The fact he's just so casual about it. And I guess he felt bulletproof. Like he was just so loved by people that he just couldn't be touched.
He was smiling. I wanted to talk to you about acting and things that you can do and how the path to getting work and all this kind of stuff. And he was just talking in that manner with a big smile on his face. And that's when he assaulted me. He put his fingers inside me and assaulted me.
That's so mind-blowing. Like, to have done something so bad, but to be so jovial. And we've heard this theme, and I'm still shocked by it constantly, because he has no conscience. That's what I'm not getting my head around, is like, to normal people, we understand, like, you do something really horrific, you should at least have some sort of sense of guilt. Or there's nothing. He's pure evil, this guy, pure to the core. That's what makes him so dangerous, is because to the rest of the world, he wasn't just liked, he was family loved by everyone in the UK. And no one knew how fucking dark he was. No one had a clue, aside from everyone at the BBC. He's like, work that out, man. What? Did you say that? Give me a kiss, love. And then sticks it on her lips unconsensually in front of everyone. And he even points to it, like, got you. Again, it's the whole laughing and joking around the whole thing to normalise it.
Do you find that you're anxious to see what's being done, or just leave it alone? Leave it.
He was literally taken in by the royal family. Like, I think he got a Knight Award, one of them bloody awards they give out. I'm never getting one, not to be honest. You only give them the pedos, apparently. The amount of those awards that they've fucking taken back later, like, oh, this is a bit awkward. He painted the Queen on her 80th fucking birthday. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was so accepted into the highest points of society. And then they give him a lifetime award at the BAFTAs.
What else can you say about Rolf Harris?
You can see he's being cheered on, loved, supported by some of the biggest names in the British film industry.
Imagine you're one of his victims, seeing the whole fucking world cheering for him and clapping for him, giving him a lifetime achievement award, knowing what he did to you. Like, that must fuck you right up in the head. And that's the thing that people, I don't think they understand when a celebrity is accused of that. It's like, it must be hard to not be able to avoid the person who did this to you. Like, when you turn the TV on, or it must make it worse. It must do.
So I started doing ads when I was 15. I remember turning up and being super excited about, meeting Rolf and doing this ad, and he came right here into my face. And I was really like, at that moment, like, what's going on here, and he's like, hey, I'm Rolf. I'm like, hi, I'm Sunny, still like excited. And that's when he assaulted me, yeah. And then he walked off.
It's the confidence that keeps shocking us over and over and over again, and I don't know why, because he's doing this constantly to all of these different girls. But in my head, these kinds of predators, normally there will be a level of grooming, I guess you'd call it, prior to the act itself. Because he had fame, I think he thought he could just cut all that and just immediately get away with doing whatever he wanted. And because it had worked so many times, clearly, he was just so fearless. And you can see the way she even just tells the story. It's cutting deep inside, just reliving that moment. There's real trauma in all of these women. There's no doubt in my mind.
We're all here in the presence of some highly distinguished guests.
I think the turning point for her came at the Queen's Jubilee. And I think that was too much for her.
To pay a warm, respectful and loving tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
So the first accuser spoke out after he hosted or played a big role in the Queen's Jubilee event. She must have just been like, nah, fuck this. Because like I said earlier, you can't avoid these people. That must have just gotten to a point where she was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And big respect, really, because to take on a man like that must have been so intimidating in the level of power, in the level of believability he would have had amongst the British public. There must have been a massive amount of doubt in that we're going to beat him if we go to court here. Must have been.
We began searching the address, which was a really kind of large property. The computer that was seized from Harris's studies show to contain indecent images of children.
The cops must have known immediately we got him there. Maybe not got him because you have to prove it all in court, but they must have known he's fucking guilty.
Britain's Sun newspaper published what has been circulating on social media for weeks.
Can I ask you for your reaction to the reports in the Sun newspaper this morning that you've been arrested on suspicion of sex offences?
No comment.
Apparently, after it were all broke in the news, more allegations poured in, basically. And credit to the original lady who spoke out. Obviously, like, her strength basically gave the other people more strength to then come forward and think, right, it's not just me then.
That's around about the age that I was when Rolf Harris assaulted me.
When you see these grown women talking about their experience, you can kind of forget like just how young they were when this shit was going on. 11 years old. You see that photograph, she's just a baby, man. It's fucking insane.
I was staying at a friend's house. Her parents were good friends with Rolf Harris. I got towards the bottom of the stairs and he said to me, "Oh, hello. Who are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm Christine." And he said, "Oh, and how old are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm 11. And he said, "Oh, just coming into womanhood." He said, "Well, then allow me to be the first one to introduce you to womanhood." And so he said, "Come over here," pulled me towards him. And then he then bent his head down and started kissing me and stuck his tongue down my throat. And I was just frozen, absolutely. And then he was just stroking me up and down and tongue kissing me. And then he just stepped back and he said, "Well, welcome to womanhood. Now you'll know what that's all about."
Fuck me. Speechless, really. I mean, the way she recites it as well, the welcome to womanhood, now you know what that's all about. Like, you can hear him saying that. You're almost in the room with her, the way she described that. Credit to her. Fucking, like, the strength she's shown, because you can see when she talked about putting the tongue in her throat, the disgust on her face, she's really there in that moment, just even talking about it. And again, he'd been in the room with a girl he didn't even know for fucking seconds, and he's going after her like the predator. Predator is that's the word, isn't it? He really is predatorial. He sees an opportunity. He doesn't wait. He doesn't think it's immediate. I don't know if I've ever heard a story like this in terms of just the speed that he operates at. Crazy, man.
I told my parents what Rolf Harris did to me. They didn't believe me. They said, "Oh, you and your stories, Christine."
Fucking hell, man. How her parents can sit there and say you're lying when, like, she's 11 and they've invited this person at the house. Like, it is usually someone who is known by the family, ironically. I don't know if they had that level of info back then, but even the way she's telling the story now is so powerful, let alone as a little girl. And I think sometimes parents, they just don't want to believe, especially if they've brought that person into the family. They don't want to be responsible. They don't want to then have to turn on this guy and go through everything that would entail. Maybe they just copped out and bottled it. But that's pathetic, that is disgraceful parenting. That is shocking. And here it says in the 1980s, he actually fronted another child protection campaign while he was abusing the kids. Come fucking make this up.
Rolf Harris admits he's no expert on child abuse, but feels compelled to use his showbiz pull to help draw attention to what he sees as a major social problem.
I mean, I just started to be aware of the enormity of this problem, because it's like treading on eggs without breaking the shells. It's such a taboo subject. Everybody is so touchy on it. Statistics here in New Zealand, 1 woman in 4 was sexually molested before she was 16.
It's actually unbelievable. The fact that he had the cheek to go on like that. And like, I guess this was almost a form of protection from him. Like, well, how can it be me? He clearly thought he was being very cunning here and very clever. And to some degree, maybe it was. But fuck me, it is so dark.
Don't put any powder on me, will you? Because it drives me mad. And don't get me looking too flash.
Makeup artists and wardrobe, we're the only ones that actually touch performers, so we're crossing that aura, if you like, that boundary.
We can see where this is going, can't we? Fuck me.
And I'm standing on this side of him, and he ran his arm up and his hand up my leg, inside my shorts. I kind of felt like he was trying to feel my knickers. It gave me a really huge shock. I did ask him not to touch me, but I didn't do it loudly. The number one rule for me as a makeup artist is we don't upset the talent.
So basically, because her job is to work with the talent, she can't then say, this guy's a problem, because who they're going to fire? They're going to fire her, aren't they? So she was fucked.
Each time it was time to powder his nose, he would put both hands up the side of my legs and run them straight up inside my shorts. He would pull me towards him and try and crotch grind me. The cameraman, the lighting guy, the sound guy, there's all these men there. Nobody said anything. Not one man asked him to stop. The director egged him on.
And I guess listening to this, it's like, maybe that was the era. Maybe, fuck me, there was good men back then, surely. I guess it was the industry as well. That industry just seemed full of fucking dirty, horrible bastards, for want of a better word. And when we talk about like how the world's changed, and there's a lot of negative changes, but one of the good things is that shit like this, I just don't think it would fly these days. And not in the open way he got away with it, where everyone knew about it. Like, it couldn't possibly carry on like that these days, thank God.
She said, I have a message from the Channel 7 executives. She said they just wanted to commend you on how you had conducted yourself. They had all watched me get abused and assaulted, and they were very happy with how I had behaved.
The executives knew about it, and instead of condemning him, thanked the girl for not fucking complaining about it. It's just mind-blowing, this. And I keep talking about the lack of guilt from Rolf Harris throughout this whole thing. And one thing that really showed that is how he behaved when the court case started. Like, his lawyers didn't just try and defend him, they went on the attack against the victims.
His team started to try and find dirt on me. So they would send private detectives to my family, to my neighbours. They subpoenaed all my medical records to make out that I was a nutcase, crazy.
They were fighting dirty. And the fact that he'd put her through all of this girl clearly is still traumatised when she recounts it. And yet, that's not enough for him. He wants to now make out like she's a nut job.
When I was told that the defendant in this case was Rolf Harris, I thought I have absolutely no chance of getting a conviction of this case because he was universally adored. The difficulty in prosecuting historic sex offences is it often boils down to one person's word against another. In this case, there were 10 women.
Fucking compelling, that, isn't it? That's what I always think about. Like, whenever a celebrity is accused, it's like 1v1. I understand the argument that a lot of people make about money grabs, etc., etc. When there's a flock of women coming forward from different points in time, making very similar allegations, do you know what I mean? It's not looking good. I always talk about the Andrew Tate situation, and that so many of these girls say the exact same story from before he was famous, after he was famous, years after he was famous. It's the same type of assault every single fucking time. And that's where the dots do start to connect for people, in my opinion. And that's obviously where Rolf Harris couldn't just talk his way out of this.
And at one point, he was asked about his song Jake the Peg. And he started singing a few bars of Jake the Peg to the jury from the witness box.
I'm Jake the Peg, diddle-diddle-diddle, with his extra leg, diddle-diddle-diddle.
And as I looked over to the jury, several members of the jury appeared to be in awe, captivated by his celebrity.
That would not be how I would have interpreted it. You're in court, motherfucker. You're on trial for sex attacks, and you're singing on the stand. And again, I kind of think that that is the thing he always went back to, of in a situation where something extreme is happening, whether that be him attacking a woman or him being on the stand. It's a charm offensive, isn't it? It's everything's fine. He literally sang on the stand. How many people in history have done that? But it was what he went back to with these girls. They said he said poetry, he sang, he did fucked up shit like that to try and disarm people and to make himself feel more likable.
And Mr. Harris admitted in court that he had complimented witness A about her flesh-coloured bathing suit. And I asked him about that, and I said that when you compliment a woman and say that's a nice bikini, what you're actually saying is you've got a very nice body. And he agreed with that. And then I suggested that he was complimenting her on her body because he found her sexually attractive. And he agreed with that. And then I asked him to remember that she was 13 years old at the time. And he agreed with that. I mean, you could have heard a pin drop. It was such stupid thing for him to admit.
Well done to that woman, though. She fucking led him to the fucking trail with breadcrumbs there. Like, well, you admit to this, you admit to this. And then at the end, she drops in. But she was 13. And by that point, he'd literally walked into his own demise. And you can't fucking sing your way out of admitting something as fucked up as that, can you? Well done to this lawyer. In order to change the perception of Rolf Harris to that jury, she needed him to do it for her. She needed him to say things to acknowledge that he was a seedy, horrible, fucking disgusting piece of shit. And I'm guessing, I think he was in his mid-80s when he went on trial. Probably not as sharp as he used to be at avoiding that sort of stuff. And the fact that it was so silent at that moment in court, that must have changed the minds of a lot of people, that one moment.
The court heard that he was a regular visitor to pornographic sites with names including young teen girls and my little nieces.
Rolf Harris said that the housekeeper had seen his grandson in his study looking at possibly pornography on the computer, and that may be an excuse as to why there was these indecent images on the computer at that time.
He was looking at that sort of shit and he blamed it on his own fucking grandson. Imagine you're unlucky enough to be the grandchild of fucking Rolf Harris, right? One of the most famous pedos in Britain now. And instead of owning up to it, he'd rather blame it on his own little grandson. Fucking hell. This guy is just unbelievable, isn't he?
What was quite interesting evidence was that Rolf Harris wrote a very lengthy letter to victim A's father.
I fondly imagined that everything that had taken place had progressed from a feeling of love and friendship. There was no rape, no physical forcing, brutality or beating that took place. That's a really twisted way of looking at it. No, there wasn't any physical forcing, but what you've done is you have taken that feeling of love and friendship and twisted it and used it to your advantage. I said, why do you just never... Oh, God, that is... Why did you never say no? I think it's fucking outrageous.
It is outrageous, especially when this man fully understood the power dynamic, the way he's explained it over and over and over to kids on these videos. The idea that because he wasn't physically violent, that still doesn't constitute as rape is such a fucking load of shit when you consider how young these girls were. And the fact that he's got the cheek to write a letter about it to her own dad and try to deny this in some way. But ironically, he's just admitting guilt, isn't he? He's showing he knew really what he was doing and he's just trying to justify it in any way he can.
Then he says this: when I see the misery I have caused victim A, I'm sickened by myself. You can't go back and change things that you've done in this life. I wish to God I could. This doesn't fit in at all with Mr. Harris's account that this was a consensual sexual relationship instigated, he says, by victim A. Why on earth would it have caused her misery? And when he gave evidence, he really had no credible explanation as to why he'd written a letter like that if nothing horrible had happened to victim A.
And that admission at the end of that letter totally confirms he was guilty. And at that point, there's no way the jury wouldn't have found him guilty.
So after victim A turned 18, the relationship, if you want to call it that, continued. He talked about meeting victim A and that he had taken her to a towpath that runs along the river at the back of the house, and that he had got victim A to perform oral sex on him on that towpath. His defence team, his barrister, said to him, I imagine this is a place that's quite well covered and secluded and secrete. No, it was all quite open. People could see.
And you think because you got her to suck you off in a place where, young kids might have walked past, anyone could have seen you, that somehow makes you seem more innocent. He just seems like even more of a dirty old man at this point. I can only imagine how gutted his defence team would have been when he was coming out with that. How could they have thought that this was going to work?
While staying at Bindy's house, he had been sat on a sofa, and sat to the left side of him was Bindi Harris, his daughter, and sat to the right side of him was victim A, who had come to visit. Because it was cold, they had a blanket across their laps. He had got victim A to masturbate him whilst his daughter was sat next to him. And you're sat there in a court setting listening to this story thinking, what are you saying? The jury were absolutely horrified.
And the fact that you would want to get a hand job sitting right next to your own fucking daughter, obviously that's not what he's on trial for, but he's painting such a picture of his idea of what is okay that you already know with the stuff that they found on the computer, with all of the testimonies from these people, the fact that he got that girl to blow him in fucking broad daylight out in public. It's giving dirty old man. Like, it's giving of the worst kind. No wonder they found him guilty. Ironically, I think the worst thing they could have done is let him testify, because he's just sealed his own fucking fate.
In the mid-afternoon, it delivered its unanimous verdicts. Guilty on all 12 counts.
At 84 years old, he was given 6 years in jail. He only served 3, and that's nowhere near enough for what he did to all of those people, in my opinion. But like, when you look at Jimmy Savile, who went to the grave without ever fucking facing his day in court, without ever being shamed, without ever knowing, you know, the whole world knows the truth, it does feel like somewhat of a win, that. Because after a life of luxury in the entertainment industry, 60 years he was on TV, being loved and adored, you know, having all of that money, living in a multi-million-pound mansion. At 84 years old, he was sitting in a fucking jail cell with some fucking sweaty-ass bloke who he having to share a cell with to piss in front of for the next fucking however many years, eating crap food. Like, just so at least that he knew that misery, even for a period of time. I'm glad, man. I'm fucking... Because so many of these cunts didn't get their day in jail, like I said. And actually, when he went to prison, like, one of his prison letters to a friend of his was leaked by his friend. I think at that point he's like, nah, fuck this guy, to the media. And basically, he slagged the victims off, saying that they came after him after 40 years and basically that it was all for money. And that really just sums him up, because throughout the whole process, he did, aside from the letter to the father, there was never any admission of guilt. There was never any, even with the letter to the father, he was downplaying everything. It just shows that there wasn't a shred of humanity in him. And he was a user and a psychopath. And even though he did get released and he did go back to the mansion, you know, you look at what has become of his legacy. Even his mansion, someone actually went to his mansion and it's not managed to sell because it's got that stigma of being Rolf Harris's gaff, and like it's literally derelict. Like there's you know, it's just they can't sell it. His daughter, who basically defended him the whole time that he was on trial, the fucking bitch, is refusing to sell it for any less than like millions, and no one wants to buy it, and it's in a right state. And he spent the rest of his life in that house, just like secluded and living in shame. And I'm just glad that the victims actually had that moment, you know, for him to have to be outed like that, at least, and to be put in jail as an old man. At least there was some fucking justice. But yeah, that was the case of Rolf Harris, the children's entertainer. I grew up watching, thinking he was this lovely old man, and little did we all know he was one of the most dangerous people in the entertainment industry of all time. I think there was over 10 victims, you know, and not all of them got their day in court. The Australian girls never managed to do that. It was only the English girls, I think, who could actually even be heard. The guy just inflicted just such misery on so many women. And yeah, just a brutally horrible story, this one. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. Appreciate all the support from you lot on the True Geordie channel. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.